Hi guys, and welcome back to World of Tanks, and it's the continuation of my Road to the Leopard 1 series, or Road to Tier 10 series, and I'm now in the Tier 6. I'm out of the Panzer 3-4, which I had a love-hate relationship with, and by that I mean I loved to hate it. Yeah, a bit of an old joke, but yeah, there you go. Anyway, yeah, I'm in the Tier 6 now, the VK 3001D. Now, this again is an alternate to the tier 6 that most people go through, which is the 3002M, which is the Panther prototype. And basically these were both done, well, both the 3002M if you want, or the Panther. That was submitted by who was it? Man, I think it was, and this was by Daimler-Benz, and they were submitted together for a new 30-ton tank, and the Man 1-1 became the Panther that we know now, one of the best tanks that came out of World War II. Now, this one, well, I was looking forward to it because it got me out of the 3-4, and because I've been told that, you know, it's a bit like a breath of fresh air. I do understand I'm going to have to get it upgraded first, and at the moment I do still have that same damn gun, which was one of the main things about the Panzer 3-4, is that 110 damage and 110 pen. And the 110 pen just isn't quite enough in a lot of these games, so I am still dealing with that gun. The armour on the front, very well sloped, very, very small lower glacis on this, and the strip that actually connects them is the thickest part on the whole tank, so if you shoot at one of these, you know, don't shoot at that bit. But 60mm on the front, 40 on the sides, 50 on the rear, which is unusual to have more rear armour than side. And the turret at the minute is, well, it's the same as the Panzer 3-4, 50, 30, 30, and that's front, sides, rear. I think when it's upgraded it's about 80 on the front, something like that, and around 45 side and rear. And the gun goes up to 150 pen and 135 damage, which will be a lot more usable, and you get an 870 horsepower engine fully upgraded, which means that this thing can really shift. It gets a good power to weight ratio. At the minute the power to weight ratio is not too bad, but the gun is quite frustrating still. But anyway, this was the very first game that I played in it, and I've kind of had a little falling out with this tank at the minute, because if it was a person, it would be a grifter or a con man, because it kind of lulled me into a false sense of security with this match. It's a very nice first match, even if I do say so myself, in a stock tank with a 75% crew. And yeah, it just went downhill from there, and I did want to get the first upgrade on it through this video, but unfortunately I couldn't quite manage it, because it just, I don't know, partly down to the frustrating gun, a bit of frustrating matchmaking, and again a point where I just started playing a bit like a donkey every now and again. So yeah, down to a lot of things, partly myself, partly bad luck, partly RNG, partly the gun, and you know what, some of the teams can take some of this flack as well, partly the teams in the odd match. But yeah, back to this one, going quite well. Like I say, I would like to get this fully upgraded, but I'm having a fairly decent match at the minute. Done quite a bit of damage. It was nice matchmaking for me as well, with it being the first match. It normally is. And bounced a couple of shots as well. Now, something else about this tank, if you come up against them, not sure about the turret yet because I've not got it fully upgraded, but you see those bits sticking out on the side? They are weak spots, so if one of these is side scraping, I don't know why I feel like I've mentioned this before. It might have been because I was talking to my son about it. But yeah, they are weak spots on the side, weaker than the rest of the side armour, and there's actually a hole behind them as well in the armour, so if you're shooting out directly from the side, if you hit that thing roughly in the middle, there's a hole behind it that leads straight to the engine compartment, or, well, the engine. And if you could get an HE through there, because it is fairly thin, I think it's somewhere in the 1 to 20mm bracket, could be 20 to 30mm, but there's a lot of HE down here that will pen that, and if you can hit it and sort of pen through there, it's actually next to an ammo rack location as well, so yeah, that's a bit of a nice weak spot. And the one after this, the 3002D, it's not so much a hole behind that, it is just there's no armour behind it whatsoever. This just has a small rectangular hole there, but there you go, quite a nice first match. So I thought, do you know what, this is a bit of a breath of fresh air after the Panzer 3-4. I think I'm going to enjoy this. If if the other matches sort of go anything similar to that, it shouldn't take me too long to get the first upgrade on it. It won't get me the turret or the top gun or even the top engine. It gets me sort of a mid-range engine, new tracks, but it should make it a bit of a difference with the speed as well. Yeah, 5 kills, so quite happy. It didn't last, and we'll see that coming up. In fact, I think, yeah, this is the next match. Wasn't too bad again. Now, I don't know if I apologise at the beginning of the video, but I am sorry that this didn't go up last night. I do realise I've been a bit inconsistent of late, and it's mostly down to technical difficulty. The other day, it was down to just I was in a lot of pain with my knees. But at the minute, it's quite difficult with my 3 kids being on school holiday for Easter, and like I say, my capture card and laptop are, well, between the pair of them, they're both on the last legs. I think they've only got 2 good ones between them. But yeah, capture card, hopefully, I think it's actually that's causing most of the issue. It seems to be that's blue screening my laptop, so fingers crossed when I replace that. Hopefully next week that should sort the problems out, because if it doesn't and I need to get a new laptop, well, that's going to take a little bit longer, because yeah, I could do with something decent obviously because of the editing side of things and what have you, so that's going to take a little bit longer to save up for. But back to the match at hand. So first match went really quite well. Quite happy with it. This is the second match. I'm going to play it. Well, it's still tier 6, not as good matchmaking as it was for the last match. There were quite a few tier 4s in there, not many tier 6s, so it was pretty damn good matchmaking. This one not so much. It's still not bad, it's still a tier 6 match, but there's more tier 6s. I don't think there's any tier 4s, or if there is, it might be 1 or 2, and they could maybe be lights even. Maybe. So I'm going to play it slightly more cautiously. There's a couple of things in here I don't really want to come up against sort of front on. British Bulldog being one of them. I think there's an M6 as well, possibly in this match. But yeah, I'm not looking forward to trying to have a go at this British Bulldog. Essentially, it's a Churchill 7. It's got very, very tough armour, even from the side. I mean, it's not overly good from the side, I could pen it from there, but the problem is getting up to him. And with the 110 pen, if I hit him at a bit of an angle, there's a good chance that it'll bounce off as well. And even the turret on the British Bulldog is quite tough. In fact, I'm not even convinced that my APCR will get through it from the front. In fact, I'm pretty damn sure it won't. So yeah, I've decided to not go after him, but unfortunately I run into one of the other things I don't really want to try and take on from the front. A Sherman Jumbo. Now, from the side, if I can get round him, I can put one through the side, but fair play to this guy, they're really not a particularly manoeuvrable tank. Looking back at this, he may have, although it didn't change then. The target, I was just wondering if he had the upgraded turret, which is the weaker armour rather than the more solid one. But yeah, they're not particularly manoeuvrable, and fair play to him, he did a good job of kicking my arse there. And I've now got a damaged engine. I'd already used my repair kit, so now I'm limping along with a stock damaged engine, which is not much fun in this. As you can see, I'm really struggling. It does, even though its power to weight ratio is not bad, unless you've got quite a bit of speed up, it does struggle with hills anyway. There's the M6. Another one I really didn't want to face, and yeah, just unfortunate that they've all come this way, and it's not like I can get out of the way quickly. I'm a one-shot kill for him if he's got the 90mm. There's an M8A1 zipping up, he's just taken out the 360H. And he could take me down, but I get a... No, I was going to say a mercy roll. I wonder what gun he's got. Anyway, he's left me on 45 health. I did manage to take him out. which I'm quite glad of. And it looks like the M6 got dealt with by our VK360-1H. Now, I'm on very, very low health now, 45, like I said before. Still got my damaged engine, and my tracks are damaged, which won't make too much of a difference, I don't think. I don't think it does make any difference, not like a damaged engine. It'll mean they get knocked off easier, but I've got to be very cautious against this guy. Luckily, he doesn't know I'm here, and he's going off the other way, although, no dear, now something does, and it's a Hellcat. I managed to get one hit into him as he disappears past, but the Bulldogs decided to pay attention to me. I get one hit into him, but with a damaged engine, I just could not pull back in time. So that was me done. Not as good as the first match. Again, a bit unfortunate, you know, with sort of having to use my repair kit, then my engine getting damaged, and just coming up against the stuff that I didn't really want to, because I've got that 110 pen gun, which is more of a liability at the minute, actually. Even in tier 6 matches, you know, coming up against some of those things, you know, the Bulldog, the M6, the Sherman Jumbo, it's a difficult tank to use. And from there, it kind of, well, it just went from bad to worse, really. Here you can see Mountain Pass Summer. There's only myself and a Borsig that have come this way. The Borsig was coming on his own, so I came to give him a hand. The CDC is rushing us. The Borsig ammo racks the Tiger, which, yeah, that does deserve a great shot. But the 12T and the CDC, they've just pushed straight up. I mean, I lingered way too long taking a shot on that Tiger. I really shouldn't have done that and pulled back. So, but yeah, that was me done in that match. Here we are for the next one, Buchla Pass. And again, like the others, these are all the matches that I played in this tank that day, trying to get that first upgrade of 16,000. I think I left it about 5,000 off. But it just got to a point, well, the problem was I ran out of space on my hard drive. Now, I tried to get up to this OI. had played it very cautiously up to this point, and it was just as I committed myself. That's when the TD popped up, and yeah, there's a couple of RT in here as well, so I've taken a bit of a beating there. Not really done much damage from my trouble either. Got 6 assists, so I should come out of this with a bit of XP at least. But then RT gives me another bad hit, leaves me on 61 health and a damage track. I try and get behind the OI to use him for cover, because if an HE shell hits a wreck, it doesn't splash, seemingly. I don't know if that's been altered with any of the patches, but I know it's been that way for a long time. So whereas if an HE hits the ground next to you, and you know, but doesn't hit you, it'll still do splash damage. If it hits a wreck, it just seems to absorb it completely. But those RTs were quite good shots. In fact, just after that one took me out, the second one hit me as well. Now, tier 8 match this time. Still got that piddly 110 penetration. It's enough to get through the side of a Super Pershing though. And these guys, they're actually platooned up. The two, well, there's a Freedom I think it is, and a Super Pershing. I'm sure it's those two. And they've made a push over and already taken a couple of our tanks down, pushing through that way. And I just didn't really know where to go. I sort of got caught, well, caught with my pants down, if you will, really, out up here. I'd come up to give a bit of support if I could, you know, try and get some flanking shots in, but I couldn't get up here in time. They took him down, and then I'd sort of been caught without really anywhere to retreat to. Now, I was going for the tracking shot there. I know I'm not going to pen the front of that. And there's a Sherman Jumbo. I had the side, but again, I just stuck out and just stayed there too long. Why? I don't know. I think it could have been out of frustration, possibly. Having had a couple of sort of mediocre matches, or, well, I think mediocre's been a bit kind. A couple of really shit matches. It was sort of a bit of desperation almost, just get a bit of damage done. at least in a tier 8 match it'll give me a bit more XP. But I go after this 3002D. It's a bit of a daft idea. I was hoping I could possibly... I don't know what I was hoping. I really don't. Maybe to outmaneuver him, but that's not going to happen. At least I do get a bit of damage done to him before he just puts me out of my misery. There you go. Now this one, which one is this one? Oh no, yeah, yeah, another bad one. Don't worry, there was one more match where I did okay, I think, and survived to the end. Now, I mean, some of these, they did end up wins, some of them ended up losses. And this one, was it this one that I stayed in? It may have been. In fact, no, it could have been a different match. I'm just trying to think now. There was a match that I did, and I think a couple of us came out into the field, and about 13 tanks went into the town and couldn't deal with like half the enemy team. But that wasn't this match. That was a different one. But the LC, I managed to take him down. I'm on very, very low health. That guy looks as though, yeah, he's fully upgraded. So I'm not going to outdo him because he's got the higher, you know, he's basically got just about the same rate of fire. But he's got much better engine and manoeuvrability, much better pen, and slightly higher damage. And this was kind of it for the day, really, in this, unfortunately. I know last week it wasn't particularly good either with the 3-4, but, you know, I don't hate this tank. I can see the potential in it for when it gets fully upgraded, with that higher pen, with the stronger turret armour, even with the slightly higher damage, and you don't lose much in rate of fire either. And the power to weight ratio is good as it is now. It's not bad at all, really, on flat ground. And you get an 870 horsepower engine, so I can definitely see the potential in this for when it's fully upgraded, and I am looking forward to that. But at the minute, I don't know, I'm kind of struggling with it a bit. At the moment, it's the gun. The gun is the main issue on this, and I think that if you get good matchmaking, you can do alright in it. But it can be frustrating, and you know, sometimes you just, well, get taken out. RT nearly killed me, and then I think it was a Super Sherman finished me off. I was in a bit of a stupid position. Again, I'd fixated a little bit on the LC. And, well, like I say, my kids were off, and you know what kids can be like sometimes when you're trying to do something. They weren't misbehaving or anything, they were just very excited and talking to me quite a bit, so yeah, I don't mind, but I'm not going to put loads of blame on them. I think maybe some of it. Yeah, they can have a bit. Hey, well, what are kids for if you can't blame them for things every now and again? Now, this one I think I actually survived, and we won. Sorry to give you a bit of a spoiler. Didn't do overly well, but didn't do particularly bad either. It was just one of those where I took shots at the things that I had the opportunity to. Should have waited a bit on the aim for that one. I probably would have put another one into him. That Churchill's having a go at me, and I'm just looking at which turret he's got. It's going to be a dodgy shot, and I really did not expect that to kill him, actually. So yeah, quite happy with that one. But yeah, just one of those matches. Not a bad match, not a crap match, just a bit mediocre. Didn't really see a great deal to shoot at. It was an encounter match, and I'd basically just sort of come up this way a little bit. I didn't fancy going to the town. I thought I'd skirt around a bit, maybe provide a bit of support, and that's what I did. But it just, like I said, just didn't really see a great deal to shoot at. Being a bit cautious coming over here. Again, you've seen, you've just seen I had quite a few bad matches in a row, so yeah, I was playing it a bit more cautiously. And that's the thing, isn't it? I think I possibly went a little bit too overcautious. But hey ho, that's the way things go, isn't it? Managing to get a couple of shots on the M4. Damage his engine, one more should kill him, and somebody takes it. I think at this point I only needed a couple of kills to do the op with the 2,500, you know, the 15 kills. So yeah, I was just trying to get them in. But yeah, not a bad match, not a great match, just very average and mediocre. 734 and a little under 1,000 XP. And sorry if you heard a bit of noise there. That was just again the pet rabbit making his presence known. But I think that was it then. So, you know, again, it lulled me into this false sense of security. Made me think, oh, okay, that wasn't too bad. Maybe things are going to get better. And then it stuffed me in a very tier 8 match on a very small map. Yay! You really do love me, don't you, Will the Tanks? Now, possibly my own fault here. In fact, I think it probably is my own fault. I think I've come too far forward. I was hoping to maybe do a bit of spotting, bit of support, you know, sort of flanking shots from down here. But I have come too far forward, and I realised it as soon as I started creeping over, and that Mutant 6 saw me and I saw him, and I had to get behind that rock. I just thought, yeah, that's it. I'm done. I've come too far forwards, and this is going to end badly. And it did. I took a few hits from them, got a big hit from the Mutant 6, and then got finished off by the E2. Now, Liberty Falls. Matchmaking was back on my side a little bit. However, I've come up against a T-34-85, looks to be fully upgraded, and a T-34-88. I know that they have quite a decent gun on them, much better than mine at the minute. And again, that's my issue with this tank at the moment. I can deal with the sort of reduced mobility. I can deal with the slightly reduced turret armour at the moment. It's the gun that I really can't deal with, and that guy asked me for help. He's going to rush the T-34-88, so I think, alright, I will do. I'll come round on him from the other side, but unfortunately I run into a heavy tank that I didn't realise was there. Turn around to go and give him a hand, but luckily he's actually taken the guy down on his own. So if you're watching, I do apologise. My plan was to come around behind him so we could pincer him. But there was that heavy there, and I didn't fancy taking a shot from a heavy tank. Wasn't quite sure what it was, but I'm on about half health. Now, make a push down here a little bit. And I know there's a heavy off to the left, and I had a feeling that there was something over to my right that was shooting. But I thought, oh well, maybe it was the Panzer IV-H and he's pulled back, because something was shooting at me from down there, but it's not now. So I put a couple of shots in at him, and yeah, that's when it hits me, literally. The Su-85. I don't know if he'd not noticed me, or if he was reloading, but I would have thought it'd have shot at me before then, which is why I thought it was the Panzer IV-H that had pulled back. But no, it wasn't. So, again, nobody's fault there, just got outplayed by the Su-85. He either waited or sort of hoped that I'd fall into some sort of trap, but yeah, well played. Didn't fire to me at first, so I did push further forwards, and that's when I got killed. Now, what's happened here is I managed to get a kill on a light tank. Then our light tank got taken out. Everybody else is up at the corner apart from the tank destroyer up on the hill there. So I thought I'd push down here and try and do a bit of spotting for that guy, maybe get some shots in if I can here and there. And there's a T-28 HTC up there. There's an IS-3 just over to the left as well. And I don't know about anything else. I don't know how much of the enemy team's gone up to the corner. Unfortunately, an A43 has made his way down onto my right flank. So sometime while the light tank was dead and I was making my way down here, he'd rushed down, and now, well, I'm in a very bad position. I've switched to my premium because I was going for the HTC, and to be honest I could probably do with them at that range on the A43, but a hidden SU-144, I forgot what it is now, SU-122-44, that's the one. Yeah, hidden, takes me out. Now, this is a tier 7 match, I think it is. As you can see, I managed to get a hit in. I think that was on a Nashorn. Damaged a VK 3002D, the one up from this, I think. Damaged his tracks. But again, I feel like, watching it back, I feel like I've pushed forwards a bit too much at this point. And I mean, one of the reasons I do the tier 10 like this, where I show every single match, is hopefully, and I think, you know, some of you guys have said this before, that by watching my mistakes, and I know that from me watching these back, it sort of, you know, at the time you might think, well, what, you know, what happened there? How come, you know, I can't believe that that happened, you know, the blah blah blah. And then you watch it back, and that's when you realise what your mistake was. And I think mine here, I'd pushed a little bit too far forward. I was, at this point, I'd just had bad matches in it. And again, you get into that cycle of bad matches, so you start taking risks to try and get a bit of damage done, which then results in more bad matches. But watching them back, I can see my mistakes. And like I say, hopefully you guys can learn from my mistakes. But yeah, it did go from bad to worse. And like I say here, I pushed too far forwards. I should have pulled back, but I'd got myself into a position where I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't go forwards for enemy tanks. I couldn't pull back because I'd get spotted as soon as I came out from behind the rock and get killed. And yeah, it just happens. Now at this point, well, our team's doing quite well. I'd been sort of holding this corner with a bit of support behind me, as you can see. I'm trying to pull back and trying to let these guys show themselves, so that the tank destroyers behind me can get shots in. Still trying to get the odd shot in here and there as well. And again, I just wish I'd got that upgraded gun on this at the minute. And I did think that I'd got a bit of support from those guys behind me. You know, there's a few shots coming in, and then something happens. I'm not quite sure what happened at the time. So looking back, I'm going to keep more of an eye on the map and the battle reports and see what happens. It just felt like all of a sudden, when these tanks rushed me, the support behind me just thought, oh, actually, no, I think I'll do something else. Now here's the KV-1S. I'm getting a bit of a kick in from that in the night. I'm just looking for shells going in from the guys behind me. And maybe they couldn't get shots. No, well, that was me done. The knight just rushed out, took me down. Well, I was on very low health anyway. And my gun, well, there was not much I could do to him. When I did hit him, it was only doing a tiny bit of damage, so there wasn't really much to be done about that. But yeah, just one of those days. Started off with a fantastic match. First, really well. I thought, do you know, this is going to be a nice tank to play in, even through the grind. And yeah, then it just kicked me in the nuts and gave me a bit of an awful day due to a few different reasons. But yeah, well, in the next one, hopefully I'll get it fully, well, not fully upgraded. Hopefully I'll get the first upgrade on it, or I should do. A good daily double should get that done. And see how it goes from there. But yeah, I can definitely see the potential in this when it's got the turret, the engine, the tracks, and the top gun. I think it's going to be quite a nice supporting medium, and having quite a very, very small lower glacis and a good angle to the upper. I think when it's top tier, it could be quite an aggressive tank, and I think when it's not top tier, I think it'll be quite a mobile flanker. But anyway, there you go. Sorry this didn't go up yesterday, but it is going up now, and you'll have a second video today as well. Quite a bit on this week, a couple of bits and bobs to sort out. It's not very often that I'm really quite busy, but the next couple of days is, so it might be a random destruction today as well as this one. I'm not too sure, but anyway, I'll be back later with another video, so until then, take care of that, and I'll catch you next time. See you later.